Hello everybody, it has been so long. I'm so sorry for not uploading the channel, but we have a wide variety of aspects to talk about in the future as per why. But for today, we're going to be building this beautiful Tiger 1 by Dragon. This is one of the best kits. It comes with Zimmerit. This kit is so good, I bought it twice, to be honest with you. This is the first time I'm building this kit, however, so you get to see the build process and how it goes. Maybe you'd want to pick this kit up. It is repurposed into a DOS work kit. It is a little bit hard to find with like this box art with Dragon. So let's take a little bit of a box tour here. You have the back, which look at all of these phenomenal goodies that this kit manages to bring. Look at that Zimmerit. I'll show you a piece of the Zimmerit later. It's on a molded turret. It looks just phenomenal. So let's dive into what's actually inside the box. Obviously, I have opened this before, so I kind of know what's in here. It's a tiger, right? Like it's a tiger kit. But yeah, so we got the instructions out the way. We did buy aftermarket decals. All that photo etch you see there came with the kit, so that's very cool. For this, we're going to use the 007 designation. That is Michael Whitman's Tiger. He was a Panzer Ace for Germany during World War II. And here is just a look at that Zimmerit, which looked absolutely amazing. You could have gone back and forth if you want. But in terms of extras, we are going to use this figure by Alpine. Speaking of extras, hold on a second. We're going to need some real tools for this. Maybe some Japanese steel may be necessary. I think we're going to have to go all the way to Japan, find Hattori Hanzo, and just pick up some good Japanese steel.
服部半蔵に一体何の用ですか？
日本刀が必要で。
一体日本刀を何に使うんですか？
切りたいネズミがいるから。
You must have big rats. You need Hattori Hanzo's steel.
Huge.
Our Japanese steel is going to come in the form of this beautiful Iwata CMC Plus, which I kind of splurged on, but this is a phenomenal airbrush for those that are familiar with the airbrush community, and we are going to use this primarily for our Tiger. It's going to have a showcase. But let's get back to the build, shall we? So we started off here with the suspension arms. Now these suspension arms are supposed to be workable, but these are very fidgety. And they're actually very difficult to hold in place. Plus, I mean, unless you're building like a diorama, I don't see the real need for workable suspension and workable tracks. As you can tell here, they're just very loosey-goosey, and they like to escape the bottom hull of this tank here. So they're just all over the place. I decided to go ahead and kind of glue them, not here, because you could tell they're all like, you know, all over the place. But yeah, this is pretty much just lower hull construction. We're going to get into upper hull, and then we're going to do the turret finally. That's going to all take place in this video. So the build is fairly straightforward. There's really not much to, talk about or discuss. So you may be hearing just the beautiful sounds of Dorian Keys during this video, who is the supplier of the music for all of my videos, and I'm forever grateful. As per usual with every Tiger, there's a million road wheels, so that's very exciting. At this point, I had already glued the workable suspension, so that way it's no longer workable because I'm not planning on building a base with this model. But put on the back plate there, as you can tell, some of the best molded Zimmerit that I've seen in a long time. These are the exhausts that go onto the back of the tank, of course. And look at this, this is pretty cool. So these tow hooks here were actually so precise that they kind of just popped in there like Legos. I'm pretty sure I could have left them workable and not had an issue, but I glued them down anyway. So I would probably do this part different. I would probably leave these off and paint them first before applying them onto the tank, just so I can get like really, really good rust effects on them. Kind of hard to do when they're on the tank already. And it's also very annoying because then you end up covering up a lot of your other work and you end up getting rust splatter where you don't want it. Just next time I'm going to leave those off, okay? Okay. And here we are. These aren't exactly the shrouds. I'm not quite sure exactly what these are, but they're kind of like these braces that are supposed to lead the or support the exhaust shroud. We're going to leave the exhaust shrouds off on this model actually, so we can showcase all of that beautiful rust tones and rust texture. Putting on the fenders and some of the final pieces there. I didn't want to film all that because it would have been a little bit crazy. For the side fenders here, we're using the Tamiya heavy cement. We let it kind of like aerate for about 5 or 10 seconds, or 5 to 10 seconds. It becomes so much more tactile and kind of easy to work with, where you could still move it around, but it's really not going anywhere, as opposed to Tamiya thin, which works very, very quickly. So again, just a good shot at that molded Zimmerit. Some of the best Zimmerit in the industry, still to this day, I believe. Some say it's too much. I say it just brings out so much more of this model that way. Okay, so here we're going to be doing the gun mantlet. This is going to be on the front armor plate of the upper hull that we're going to be doing here. So this is really the first time that we've moved on from the bottom hull. And the gun is pretty cool. However, it's kind of unfortunate because it won't be seen. It does have a lot of grab handles and stuff like that. So we're going to be moving fairly quickly through here. Just applying all these grab handles onto like this engine cover that we see here, and then sliding the engine cover onto the plate of the upper hull. It is good practice to kind of glue from the inside if you have a part like this. You get a strong bond, and you also don't get gluey tide marks up top. Not really something that you have to worry about, especially if you're planning on priming the model before you paint it. So good practice, good idea to kind of glue from the inside if you have parts like that. As you can tell, my upper hull is kind of warped, but that's because this was in storage for a very, very long time. As you can tell, it's just going to get exemplified here. So, you know, this kit is not perfect. It's one of the better Tiger One kits, but it's by no means perfect in any way. I feel like the slight fit issues, sorry about that we had here were more because the plate was warped, and that again was because of the way I stored it. I had it piled underneath a whole bunch of other models, and the weight of those models had caused the plastic to warp while it was on the sprue. Again, no big deal, just a little bit of pressure and some glue and you will be perfectly fine. If it is severely warped, then I mean, sometimes you just can't kind of help that, and you may need some type of clamp or tie down just that way you can get the model there. Okay, now putting on this front plate. Now, one of the glaring issues, and I will state it because we are all about transparency here, but as you see, the Zimmerit stops right there at the end of the bottom hull. You see right there. They give you this little photo etch Zimmerit part, but it just does not do it justice. Plus, I don't know how to make a real like Zimmerit coating. It's something I will definitely learn, so that was kind of just left like that. Now you notice, and you get to notice because I had to notice the entire time. Gluing on these photo etch grill covers or grills with black super glue from BMS. Yeah, it has these rubber particles that kind of allow a longer working time. So tried it out, kind of liked it. However, the shelf life wasn't the greatest. Then again, it's been a very long time since I've uploaded to this channel, so yeah, it kind of expired on me. But still a very good product. I suggest it. It's very, very good. Here we're just putting on some of like the tools, some of the extra little goodies that the kit comes with. Now, usually the tool clamps should be photo etched, and they did give me photo etched tool clamps. However, these were actually pretty detailed and I feel like pretty in scale. So no surgery, kind of left them, and I think it's just going to be easier that way to do. And again, they had so many tools. You know, these tanks, just having all these tools put on the upper hull, it actually adds a lot to the model. I feel like that's something that's missing in modern armor. It's kind of unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. So just finishing up putting all these little fiddly bits up top, and then we finished up with the covers here for the driver hatch and the gunner. simple glue at the end, not a lot. Now comes the exercise in tedium. So this kit did come with plastic tracks. I don't know if they were supposed to be workable or not. I'm just going to show you the construction process. So each one of these links are by themselves. But if you notice, there's no guide horns on here, and there's these little dots. Dragon was nice enough to give you a little bag of these little things. These little things were actually not that bad to put on. Don't keep that a secret between you and me. But it was extreme tedium. There is 2 guide horns per track link, and I think there's 115 track links per side. So 230, you're looking at 460 times of repetition for that right there. Did not use these tracks, although they look very, very good. I used the kit tracks, which were vinyl, and they look very, very good. They look, easier to work with. So we just used those. Those are coming up in a later video. Here we're moving on to the actual main gun, this giant 88 that the Tigers had. It is such a beautiful, imposing weapon on the front of this already giant German cat. This is just the construction of it. It's very, very easy, very modular. If I could do this part again, I would probably buy an aftermarket metal barrel just because it just looks better. No matter how many times I sand down certain aspects, you'll still get these plastic gaps there, which is why I added a little bit more cement to it. Didn't really work out, but again, it's one of those issues where if I have to notice, I kind of want you to notice too, because I am in no means a perfect modeler. I'm just an average guy doing a hobby. And I think that makes me relatable to you. So I hope you take that for what it is. Here we are finishing the gun mantlet. Now again, I'm just gonna use every reason I can to show off this Zimmerit. I think it just looks phenomenal. This is just an additional piece of that 88 that we have going on the front of our tank here. And now it actually has some really, really cool internal gun assembly. So this is like the breech, the loading hatch, all the dials, all the mantlets. It's pretty cool, but we're not making this an interior model, nor are we making it where you can really see on the inside. So yeah, I always found kits like that very interesting. I feel like that should be left for full interior kits, because like, oh, you look inside the turret and wow, there's a highly detailed breech, there's a highly detailed spent shell casing catch, but there's nothing else on the interior, and it just looks, just kind of like out of place. Good touch though, I will say. It did go together very nicely. This gun again is supposed to be workable. That's why I put this ring in there. I found it to not really be that workable. Just the plastic on plastic contact kind of made a lot of friction. Plus, when I paint this up, it's really not going to be any type of like smooth action, nor am I ever going to be trying to use that. So this is the construction, pretty much what we have. Those spare tracks at the bottom, those were used with all those guide horns and individual track links. So at least that was worth it. So here we are, we're just finishing up this turret. We are putting on the top of the turret. Now, mind you, the actual turret for these Tigers were asymmetrical. I can't tell if you can notice from there, but the right side has a little bit less of a curve than the left side. I don't think I really showed a good angle of it. Perhaps there you can see it. That's the way they really were. A lot of kits do symmetrical turrets and it's just dead wrong. So here, painful part for modeling is having to destroy your model for the sake of customization and personality. So we wanted to make this kit with some missing fenders here, partly because it adds something while taking away. Very interesting concept. And also you can kind of see what's going on with the tracks, a little bit of extra road wheel, and some of that exposed Zimmerit. It's actually pretty cool. All right, so let's get our Panzer Commander started here. Alpine makes phenomenal resin cast characters. You can check them out. They have their own website. I'm not sponsored by them, but yeah, these figures are phenomenal. They do have a lot of like accentuated folds. The head models do have a lot of facial features and expressions, so these are pretty cool, and they're very, very in scale, and I like them. They are a dream to build, not build, they're a dream to paint, but they're also a dream to build. You just need some super glue, and it's fairly straightforward. As you can tell, we're going to use this guy's head right there, the facial expression. Now, I'm in no means an expert on figure painting as well, so we'll get that in the figure painting episode. Now, this is what we have, our big, imposing Tiger One. No wheels, no tracks just yet. We're just going to show you the basic construction here with all the photo etch and all of the little bits of spare tracks and cleaning rods and track rods, tools, open hatches. This actually looks really good, I'm not going to lie. I'm actually very proud that I decided to build this model, because it did go together very well, so very excited about that. We're gonna get close to the end of our video here, guys, and I just wanted to take a minute to say I'm sorry for not uploading as much as I should have. However, in future videos, you will see why. I will cover why we took a little bit of a hiatus. We were upgrading our studio, so in a few videos, you'll notice that the studio does not look the same whatsoever. We were also spending a little bit of money on equipment, so that way we can get a better product out to the channel, something that I feel like you guys are really going to enjoy. This is going to be the final few shots where we just bring everything together. I really appreciate you guys staying subscribed, being patient, and watching these videos. I cannot wait to release the rest of this. I'll see you guys next time.